right here on Penn's Peak Radio. And speaking of guests, we always like to have a great guest come into the show in the second hour of the show. And I'd like to bring on board my new guest for today. This lovely lady's got quite the background, and we're going to touch base on a few things and a few of her accomplishments and what she's got going on and chat with her just a little bit. Please make welcome my new BFF here on Wall to Wall Country, Miss Risa Binder. Hey, Risa.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Glad to get you on the show today. We're going to touch base about a bunch of things, but get to know you a little bit and play some of your music. How's that sound for a plan?
I'm super excited and thankful. Thank you for having me.
No problem. It's kind of one of those things. I have had all kinds of artists, from classic artists to artists that have been around for a while, all the way to a new and upcoming artist. You're not necessarily new to the country music industry, but with some of the music that you have out there, you are starting to make a serious splash in the industry. And we're going to talk about some of those things that you have going on. But first, let's back up just a little bit, Risa. Maybe give a little bit of a background about who you are, where you come from, and how you ended up kind of where you ended up now and got to the position of being able to record this EP and put out some new music and stuff. But give us a little background about who Risa Binder really is.
Oh, cool. Okay, absolutely. So I'm originally from Maryland, and I kind of would always write songs about boys I had crushes on, like when I was like in like elementary school or whatever. And so, I'm kind of a gypsy. I moved from Maryland to New York to pursue both dreams of being on the stage and then also music. I always wrote. And while I was starting to go to New York, I kind of got tripped up and found myself completely falling in love with Nashville. I would go to the Bluebird Cafe, which I don't know if you've been there, but it's this awesome venue, and it was so meant to be. I do believe, everything kind of happens for a reason, and I was kind of at the Bluebird Cafe on the night that all Garth Brooks writers were there, but Garth was not there, and I got to hear his songs with the people who actually wrote them, and it changed my entire life, and I was like, I want to do that, And so, I moved from Maryland to New York, and now I live in Nashville, and that's where I write and record and tour out of.
And that's pretty awesome. I mean, you've already got some experience of bouncing around there, so you kind of get that already down in part of the the journey of becoming a singer, songwriter, performer out there a bit. And you've already gotten some serious accomplishments taken care of. You're Emmy-nominated country artist. You've got
that was
this.
Crazy.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I was saying it was crazy to even hear it, but I can't believe. Yeah, the Emmy nomination was totally. I thought they were joking when they called me, but they weren't. It's very strange.
Well, tell us a little bit about that story. Tell us about that story.
Okay. So, I travel between Nashville, New York, and L.A. to write songs with people because you never know where a great song's going to come from, and I love meeting people and writing with them. And I had a song I wanted to write about two of my friends who met and fell in love because he was her math tutor, and they fell in love and got married.
Aww.
And I thought that was so cute, so I had this title called Just Like That. And I ended up writing it with a girl out in L.A., and you just never know where songs end up. And that particular song somehow got onto General Hospital, and one of the actors on the show sings the song to her mom on the show. And so it was really cool to hear a song you wrote, sung by an actress in its entirety, and that song got nominated for an Emmy. We didn't win, but it doesn't matter. It was such a cool experience,
Well, just go in and know, and I mean, it's a step. It's a huge step to be there and rub elbows and hobnob with some of the great talent that's out there. I'm sure that in itself had to be pretty surreal for you.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing. Yeah, definitely. And it definitely kind of took my dreams to the next level. So that was pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome that happened for you, and congratulations on that little notch that you've already got in your belt, and that sounds just totally exciting and stuff. Now, Yeah, let me ask you a couple more questions about some of this music that you have going on here.
Please.
You've been writing before you were performing. Am I correct on that?
I kind of did it all together.
Okay.
I would write. It kind of all. It's a funny story actually. I started writing songs when I guess I was in like and singing them when I was in like maybe third or fourth grade, because growing up in Maryland where I grew up, I lived around all boys.
Okay.
I remember starting to I remember looking out the window and wishing a girl would move next door so I could have like a friend. And so I wrote a song about how I wish a girl would move next door. And then like that week, there must have been some magic there, because 7 girls moved next door. And I was like, oh my gosh, music is so powerful. And I remember thinking, gosh, you never know what happens when you write a song, you know?
Right.
So I feel like kind of my life has been led that way, like writing songs and singing them lead to these exciting opportunities, you know?
Yeah. Well, you had a pretty amazing thing happen with one of the songs, and it's your first single that you released. You got some airplay on Sirius XM radio for a little bit of it, huh? Oh man!
I give a big shout out to John Marks. He believed in me from the beginning, and you know, especially in music, but I think in any career, you need those champions really believe in you, and when you get them, you're just got to be really thankful for them, and he was one of them. And I made this record with Luke Wooten, the producer. He's incredible, and he you know, helped me create the song so that then John liked it. And yeah, it played on Sirius XM. We got to, I think, number 24. It was so surreal because I was driving down, I was coming from Franklin in Nashville back to downtown Nashville, and I'm driving in this minivan type thing, and I hear this guy that's on the radio, and he's like, we've got a new girl in town. And I'm like, oh my God, is he talking about me? Like, and he's like, her name is Risa Binder. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I had to like pull over from the highway because I could not continue to drive. It was like the first, and I was like, I was just dumbfounded, and I probably cried. I was in some kind of shock to hear the song, because that was been a dream of mine for as long as I can remember, you know?
Now, yeah, but how did you make that connection with those guys over there? How did you meet? How did you get there? I'm a little confused.
So the song, I recorded the song, Gotta Have You, at Station West Studios with Luke Wooten. He was my producer, and he works with Brad Paisley.
Oh, okay.
He was mixing Brad Paisley's record. John Marks came by, right, to listen to the Brad Paisley record. But I guess he was also mixing Gotta Have You. And John was like, who's that girl? And he's like, oh, my friend Risa. I'm working with her. He's like, I like that song. I'll try that on XM. I'm like, what? So it was like totally not planned.
Right.
And so, you know, the next week we took a meeting, and I got to meet him. And now, you know, he's not with XM anymore. He works for Spotify now, and so he's helping out country artists in that world too. And so it just happened in this crazy, awesome way.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of one of those things too, that, you know, it's one thing if that's what you're doing and you're forcing, not so much forcing things down people's throat, but you're putting it, you know, you're trying to get it there, you're using any avenue you can, and finally somebody's like, okay, I'll listen, you know, whatever. But your story is kind of interesting because it was completely unscripted. It was just one of those things that people heard it, this gentleman heard it and said, listen, this is what we're going to do with this song. Didn't know you, didn't know anything about you, and that's got to, and that's got to bring some validation to, you know, your music and your talent and all that, where it was just kind of like picked out of the clear blue sky, sort of, you know what I mean?
You know what's so crazy, and I don't know if you do this, but I love something called dream boards. I don't know if you have them in your house or whatever, but I've done them for about like 10 or 12 years. Where I'll write my dreams down, and then I'll find a picture of them to put on a wall.
Right.
I painted a wall in chalkboard paint and magnetic paint, and like I'll put up pictures, and one of them was, of course, to hear my song on the radio, and then another one, I'm looking at it right now because I'm in my bedroom, is a picture of me like on a tour bus and things like that. And those things haven't happened yet, but I feel like whatever you really focus on, if you work hard and you're really focused on it, you're going to get it.
Sure.
I didn't, but you don't know how, right? You just know you're going to work hard. And that was one of the, I couldn't tell you it was going to happen that way.
Right.
But when it happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, it happened. And then I'm like, you know, looked at the wall and was like, holy crap, that just happened. Like,
right.
So that part was cool.
Well, I totally, and I'm, all my friends will know. If you talk to any of my friends, they'll be like, I believe. I mean, there's some books out all about the kind of stuff, and one of the ones that is pretty well known is something called The Secrets, and it's one of those things where you focus on what you want, you know what you want, you focus on how you want to get there. Sometimes you just leave it up to the universe, but you just focus on something that you really want badly, and you try to bring positive energy to you, and you kind of get rid of all the bad crap, and you know what? It works. It works for me. I love it.
I'm glad you love it, because it's like you focus on it, but then you take as many actions as possible towards that thing.
Sure.
Without being too like crazy town about it, and also kind of being respectful about it. You just kind of are. You're like, am I moving in that direction or not? If I'm not moving in that direction, what do I need to be doing to move in that direction? What are the tasks I need to do? And I think because it's so funny. My mom is a teacher, and there's, when we were in school, there are these report cards, right? And like in being a musician, being a recording artist, there aren't really report cards. They're just, everybody sets their own path. And like, I do kind of believe that there's enough space. Like in Nashville, for example, you said Natalie Stovall, who you love, and I love her too. And there's a lot of women that live in Nashville that are kicking butt out there, and she's definitely one of them. And we're all on our own paths, and there's enough space for all of us to get what our heart wants, just because that's what was placed in our heart. And the same way I think if you want to be a doctor, you go be a doctor.
Right.
Want to be a teacher, you just got to follow that.
Right. And you got to believe in it yourself. You got to believe that you're worth it. You got to believe that, it is coming, that you can taste it, you can see it, you can imagine yourself doing it. You are already doing it in your mind and in your heart and in your soul.
Totally.
You just got to help make it happen physically. But if you're just like any goal, so to speak, I mean, if you want to take the universe part out of it, it's basically having a goal and working for it. If you want to make it quite that simple.
Totally, and athletes do it. And I remember reading a book in Nashville. One of the times I would come down here from New York a lot and record, and then I just decided to move here about 2.5 years ago. And I would stop in a bookstore that's no longer here in Nash, and I picked up a book about athletes, and they kind of meditate before a race, or they picture themselves running the race.
Right.
And it's that's what I'm talking about. It's like, whatever you want to do out there, whatever your dreams are, if you take 2 minutes out of your day, close your eyes, and picture yourself physically doing it, you're going to move in that direction, I think, quicker,
Right.
Than if you don't. Anyway, I love that. I love talking about that stuff.
Yeah, no, man, and I believe in it, too. I believe in it. Somebody, not to get off track, but I mean, a while back, tough time of life, you're sitting there and you're trying to figure things out, and you're just like, God, this, sucks. And a very good friend of mine handed me that book, and she's like, just read it. She's like, what have you got to lose? You're so darn miserable. What have you got to lose? Just sit down and read the flipping thing. And I'm like, fine, whatever, giving the old paw in the face, and I got to tell you, that was a turning point for me. I'm like, what have I got to lose? What do you got to lose except to believe in yourself and believe that you deserve good things in life and focus on those good things and try to bring positive energy. So I'm all about it. You and me, girl, we got a connection because I'm all about it.
We totally do. I love that. It works.
It does work. It does work. And if it doesn't work, it's because you don't believe in it enough. There's always that thing. It's like somebody sits there and go, oh, well, my life's miserable. Well, why is your life miserable? Well, because of this and that. Guess what? The only person who can change that is you. So.
And you know what? And the thing is, it's okay. We all have bad days and good days. It's just like that the one thing that kind of runs through that is like it's hard. It's really hard, but it's like up to us personally to kind of pick ourselves back up and
right.
And keep running towards that goal.
Right.
So I'm right there with you. Not every day is unicorns and lollipops and roses, but
right.
if you can, if you have that kind of goal in the distance and you know what you're working towards, that should give more purpose. Gives purpose. So,
sure.
anyway,
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the idea of looking at the glass half full rather than half empty.
Without a doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
And there's so many of those, so many of those things you can kind of relate to. But, I believe that's what you're saying. You believe in yourself, you believe in your talent, you believe in what you want, you know what you want, you're focusing on what you want, and girlfriend, you're going after it. And, your music is a statement, and how the conversation kind of started about, you wanted to see yourself on radio. You wanted one of your songs out there. And I may not be Sirius Radio, but let me tell you something, girlfriend. I'm going to play some of your music. How's that?
Hey, oh my God, are you kidding me? Anyone that I'm thrilled that you wanted to chat with me today.
No.
So thank you.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we touched base on Gotta Have You, so I think one of the things that we're going to do is, why don't you give us a quick explanation? You wrote the song. Give us an explanation of what about that song is a little bit about, and we're going to take a break and we're going to come back with it. But what is it? What is it? Gotta Have You? Is it a boyfriend story?
Yeah, kind of. You're going to laugh at me. I did not write this song.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, I wish I did. In Nashville, and we can talk about this when we come back. The song is a love song, and it could be translated to loving a guy. It could be translated "Gotta Have You." Sometimes I think I was singing to God, honestly, like "Gotta have you." I gotta. But that's kind of the translation. But in Nashville, we can talk about this when we come back. You do both. You write your own songs, and you also you get yourself into the community here. And if there's a song that sounds like you that you want to do, maybe you get lucky enough to do it. And that's what Gotta Have You was for me.
Well, that sounds like fun, and it sounds like a fine plan. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to let our listening audience listen to that. How does that sound, Risa?
Exciting. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We do have to pay some bills around here to keep us on the air and be able to continue doing what we do, like interview this bubbly little girl named Risa Binder. We're going to have connection information for you on how you can find her and how you can get your hands on her music, a little bit more background on the girl, and about another song and something that Risa keeps close to her heart. And we're going to talk about all that coming up right after the break. But first, let's pay some bills, and we're going to have Gotta Have You coming right up, right here on PPR. Risa Binder and Gotta Have You right here on Penn's Peak Radio on the Wall to Wall Country Show. What a great tune. I love it. I like it, Risa.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I love performing it live. It's so fun.
I bet. You know what? And I think, you said, it's a perception of who you might be talking to. And I could see how people will really connect to that song in their own lives. And, I could really, you're going to sit there and you're going to think about the people that you want to have in your life. Have you found that that's the case? Are people connecting with you on that level and talking to you about who that song is, or who that person is in the song?
Oh, sure. It's fun. It's amazing. There's something going on my Facebook page where people are dedicating it to other people in their lives. And every time I see them dedicate, I write a personal message because I just think, music just brings people together. And this song, Gotta Have You, I feel it on stage when I'm singing it. Like, it definitely is uplifting, and I connect to it personally. And people come up and say, I love that song, it just kind of moves me to sing it. So I really am thankful for the people who wrote it, and I'm thrilled to be singing it.
Yeah, I really think people are going to be able to connect to that one, and find that it means something for a specific person. Because even myself sitting here, I'm like, I'm thinking of like people like my husband. It's like stuff like that, and just be able to have that. Has anybody? Do you know if anybody's played that for a wedding song?
I know it happened, but I didn't know them personally.
Okay.
But it's so crazy because I found out later on, there was this weird, did you see that Facebook thing where there are these messages that you didn't know existed, that thing that went around, there was this other place to find messages? I clicked on it, and it was like, oh, I had Gotta Have You at my wedding. And I was like, holy cow, I wish I had known that. I would have, that's so incredible. Like, I would have shared that on my page, and I think it's an awesome wedding song,
Right.
I'd be happy to show up at a wedding and sing it myself. I love love. I sound like a but it's true.
You're so cute.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, You're being cute, but yeah, I mean, and I could see how people are going to recognize that as something where it's going to be one of a wedding song and possibly become a staple as that because of just the message behind it. And I think that's a really cool thing. Now, one of the things that if people are really liking the music, let's touch base just a little bit before we get into the next song that I want to play real quickly here for you. Obviously, you mentioned your Facebook page. I know myself. I've become friends with you, and now you know how to stay in touch. By the way, you got a nice website. Are you all about the social media? Is Facebook just one of those things that you're on mostly, or?
I'm all about it. Like I am. I think as we speak, almost about to reach 10,000 followers on my Twitter page. My Twitter page is. My name is Risa, R-I-S-A, and then the word stuff. So Risa Stuff.
Uh-huh.
That's my Twitter handle, and that's also my Instagram handle. And I love posting pictures from the road. I am a huge dessert person. I love pictures of food, and then like just kind of like I like to. I'm learning how to run. I suck at running, but I'm like posting pictures of like the runs I do in the morning. So I'm all about connecting with people online, so please find me and friend me.
Okay. And and people can ask you questions or talk to you about your music on some of these social media sites.
Without a doubt, Twitter. Yes, I'm on a couple times a day, every single day, and I'm getting into it. It's funny because I feel like in the last like 2 months, I always understood Instagram. Like I feel like that's so easy to understand. I love pictures and looking at other people's feeds, but Twitter I didn't quite get until about like 2 months ago, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like you find like your community on there, and it's pretty cool. And so, especially I'm getting ready to gear up to do a lot more live shows coming up, and I'm like, oh, this will be fun from the road, just to kind of let everyone know what I'm experiencing. And my band is my family in Nashville. I don't have family here, and so when I get to do a show and we all get together, I've been with my band for about 2 years now, and they're my family. So that's so funny because I'm thinking back to Gotta Have You for a second. I'm like, I gotta have them. Like that's what I think when I'm on stage. I'm like, this doesn't work. If you don't have your band, you don't have anything.
Right. Right.
And so that's kind of who I'm thinking about.
Nice. Well, that's pretty cool. And, it's nice that you have that good connection with the people that are, without them, obviously you sound good, but you sound better when you have a really great band backing you up too,
Well, that's the thing, like, and I feel the same way about going to concerts. Like, you hear a song on the radio, and you're really excited to see it live, and my whole wish and hope, and you're always growing as an artist, and, like, we're still new, like, to the road. Like, I've been touring the last year, opening for Mr. Ronnie Millsap, who is this country legend, and he gave me my legs, my touring, they call them touring legs, like, over the last year. We've gotten to go all across the United States with him, and we're gearing up to do it again in a couple weeks. And you're always getting better. You're never kind of done getting better. So it's like you learn from each show, and you're like, oh, okay, I can do this better. Or so it's all a process, but it's great.
Nice. Just let me throw this out there. We're located in Northeast Pennsylvania on the eastern side of the state. So if your travels happen to bring you in this direction, of course, the doors to Penn Speak Radio are always open. We'd love to have you bebop in and do a little impromptu stuff here in the studio. So just keep that in mind. I don't know where your tour's taking you, but
that would be super awesome. I'm sure we hit Maryland quite a bit because that's where I'm from. Maybe we can work it out that we figure out something one of the next couple times I'm there to come up to you guys.
Yeah, that would be great. And now you know how to reach me, which would be pretty awesome. So you have all these songs out. You released this EP. Tell us a little bit about the EP and some of the songs that we're featuring today. Like, how did all that come about for you?
So I started working with Luke Wooten. He's this awesome producer, and he records out of Nashville. And we worked together on maybe like 2 songs at first. Then we just decided let's do a record together. And our first record is this Nashville EP. Came out last year. And I toured with that. I still continue to tour with all of those songs. But now we're 7 songs into our next record together, which I think one of the songs you're getting ready to play is from the next record. It's called Pretty. And I'm excited, the Nashville EP is like 100% me coming into town, into Nashville, and just like being here. And there's like a bluegrassy kind of vibe to it. And then this next record, which we don't have titled yet, has more of like, everything's more like up-tempo-y, and like driving, and almost, it's funny, with Ronnie, when we open for Ronnie Millsap, I have more of a stripped-down band vibe. There's a guy on a box drum playing, then my guitar player, backup singer, me, and a bass player. On this next record, we kind of have to tour as a full live band, loud. That's what it requires, so it's kind of going to be fun to take these songs to the next level, too. But the Nashville EP is on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's on Amazon, and I sell it at my shows, and I'm so excited to have found, Luke helped me find my sound, and I think one of the sexiest sounds actually is a pedal steel, and I love a pedal steel because it sounds like it's crying a little bit, and I think on my Nashville EP, I think I loved it a lot, and every single song has pedal steel on it, and it's probably the same way on this next record, at least, yeah, I think it is, yeah, so far, but to find my sound through him has been, like, just incredible.
Now, when you talk about this song, Pretty, it actually has a very special place, this song. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this program for self-esteem and that inspired this song? Tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's a unique thing.
It's crazy. Honestly, what happened was Pretty got played on Sirius XM The Highway this past September, and the song itself turned into a movement that I was not even considering. I didn't know. What happened was Pretty played for about the first week. Pretty played on the highway. A teacher in Kentucky reached out to me, and there was a picture of her classroom with her with a sign behind her that said Pretty, and she tweeted it at me, and she was like, my name is Miss Coop, and we kind of, she's like, my kids love your song Pretty. And this woman is an incredible teacher. She started a program called Real Girls Stand Strong, and it's an after-school program that teaches self-esteem to middle school girls. And she went to such an extreme that she takes all the mirrors down in all the girls' bathrooms, and it replaces them with positive posters about, like, self-esteem. And it's insane. She's amazing. So when I heard that they knew Pretty, I'm like, hey, can I drive to Kentucky and meet your girls? And, like, we'll have a pizza party. We'll sing Pretty together. And I said, would they be interested in doing dream boards? And she's like, yes. And so it kind of turned into this movement where I go to different schools now, and we do the You Are Pretty project. And it's mostly been girls, but we had guys too. And, we sing some songs together, and then they stand up and they talk about what their dreams are. And really, the song Pretty is about knowing that you're beautiful no matter what. I don't care if you wake up and you're not feeling good or whatever people tell you in school or you've been bullied or whatever else. You just got to put all that crap out of your mind and know that you individually are a beautiful, gorgeous person on your own path. And so that's what Pretty is about. It's owning you're beautiful. And even though sometimes we don't feel that way, you are.
Well, yeah, I mean, and, it's one of those, self-esteem things that, was mentioned in this little thing that I got. Let me ask you this. If there are other schools or other organizations that would like for either you or whatever to get involved with the You Are Pretty confidence campaign, how can they get involved? Contact you, or is there a website? How can they do that?
They can write me at risabinder@gmail.com. That's my email. I've gone to several schools. I've done middle schools and high schools, but I'm open, of course, to other events and things like that. So please contact me. It's really exciting. We've got Post-it involved because I play this self-esteem game with Post-it, and they found out about it, and they're now involved, which is super exciting. So it's growing, Well,
that would be a really neat topic to have you come here and actually talk about this whole program, because no matter where you are or how much money you make or how good looking you are or whatever, unfortunately, no self-esteem happens, bullying happens in just about every community all over the place. And unfortunately, in a lot of places, it's still hush-hush. Kids don't know that they can come forward and talk. And I mean, just in that, aside from being an artist, that would be really something. We'd love to have you here in the studio and spend some time discussing that with.
I would absolutely love that. And this game is so interesting because I've played it with adults too, where it's like, it's called the Post-it compliment game, and basically you yourself take 3 Post-its and put them on you, and you write 3 words or 3 to 5 words about yourself, things that you feel are positive about yourself, and then you have a partner that does the same thing. Then you look at the partner and you say, oh, I see that you're funny, you're kind. And what's crazy is that hearing from someone else the compliment that you gave yourself is powerful. We may not get, we may not have someone tell us that day, oh, you looked pretty, or what a great talk you gave today, or, you know what, I love you as a friend because you're a great listener, and it just feels really confirming to play this game and hear it from a stranger or maybe even a friend.
Right. Well, very interesting stuff, but I think what we're going to do is if you can hang in there just a little bit longer, Risa.
Sure.
Yeah. We're going to hit the ID here real quick. We're going to come back with the song Pretty, which was basically the beginning for this entire journey about real girls, stand strong, and this whole dynamic of self-esteem. And we're going to let the people listen to the words that started this whole program for you. Can you hang in there for a little bit longer?
I'd be honored to. Thank you.
Awesome. We are going to be back with this song. Now, you guys really need to listen to the words and understand that this is something that's really starting a movement. And if you guys are interested in helping out with part of the movement or finding out how you can create this movement in your school or your hometown, you can shoot her an email at risabinder@gmail.com. Make sure you get in touch with Risa directly, and she will be able to help you out. But we're going to play that song, Pretty. For all of my pretty listening audience. Right after we take a bottom of the hour ID, we'll be back with more Risa right after this. Recognizing self-esteem as a problem in the United States as well as all over the world, Miss Risa is taking some steps to help get that become no longer an issue with some self-confidence campaigns using that song Pretty as a definition of knowing that each and every single person out there is a little bit pretty. The You Are Pretty Confidence campaign. You want more information, make sure you get in touch with Risa directly at risabinder@gmail.com. Risa, what a great song.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you.
And and I think it does. It gets the point across. It's like, you know what, just because we're different doesn't mean that, you're not pretty in your own way, this person's not prettier in that way. And especially with little girls, there's so much pressure on kids today. You got to have these shoes. You got to wear these clothes. You got to have this waist size, and I just I'm with you. I kind of think it's crap. And I just think that kids really just need to be identified as individuals and let them grow into their own rather than being, molded by what society thinks is right, but that's just me.
No, every person has a story to tell, and every person's story is valid, and their journey is valid, and we're all more similar than different. And so, being in a room with these students and watching them stand up and present their dream board. My dream is to do this and this, and another girl's like, "Oh, I have that same dream," and they're like, "Really? You want to go to Paris? And you want to?" And then they start a conversation, and it's not about your shoes. Oh, I like your shoes. It's about, really, you want to travel like me? And it's like, it takes it off of the physical. You know?
Right.
Cool.
And it helps them learn more about each other more than, just how you look. You can't read a book by its cover, that whole dynamic of that. But the Nashville EP is out in its entirety, Risa?
Yeah. It's out in its entirety. And Pretty is out, too. The single Pretty is out from my next record. That is on Spotify, on iTunes, I think I have an iHeart radio station, which is kind of cool, and I discovered that totally randomly, which is bizarre. But anyway, it's on iTunes and Amazon and Spotify. Yeah.
Awesome. So you can get your hands on this lovely girl's music on all the electronic devices. Just search her, Risa Binder, Binder, and her first name is Risa. She's on all the social medias out there, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitters, and whatever all they are. I don't even know anymore. I can't keep up with them all. But Check this girl out. Become friends with her. Mention that you heard all about her music here at PPR, and reach out to this lovely girl, especially if you're interested in becoming a part of the whole You Are Pretty Confidence campaign. Great way to help kids out, and maybe someday we'd actually be able to get her live in the studio here and promote that also. You want more information about the campaign itself, you can check with her at risabinder@gmail.com and find out more about her on my Wall to Wall Country Show page. The page will be up until Monday. Her connections also on there for Facebook, Twitter, and her website to follow her a little bit more and find out what's going on when she's touring with Mr. Ronnie Millsap. And she might be coming to see you in your hometown. That would be totally awesome. I'd love to have you here, Risa. It'd be fun.
I'd love to come and meet you in person. It'd be so fun.
Yes, absolutely. So before I let you go, do you got any wink, wink, nudge, nudges on some things that some of your fans can look forward to, of what might be upcoming and new in the near future that they might be able to find out about?
Well, this is kind of cool. I just found out my song Pretty got added. If you fly Delta, you can hear my song in the air. It got added to the country playlist on all Delta flights, which is super cool. So if you're flying and you see it, send me a picture. I haven't seen it yet. That'd be so cool. In the near future, if you go to my website, risabinder.com, I made these tank tops that say write, sing, repeat. They're like yoga tank tops. They're super fun to wear. So they're on my site, which is a new kind of merch piece that I'm adding. And then I have a bunch of shows. Coming up, and kind of overwhelmed but excited about them, starting next week in Vegas and kind of going through, at this point, October. So check out online and let me know if you're in the neighborhood of where I am so I can say hi to you.
Not yet. You need to come a little bit northeast, but hopefully that...
Something fun that I do at my shows, usually, it depends on the type of show, but mostly I do something called a sweet and greet after my show, where I'll pull in where I'm at, depending on where I'm at in the U.S. Like, I'll pull in a local bakery, because my favorite things to do are to perform music and eat desserts. And so it's very true. Like in Texas, for example, we went to this awesome barbecue place called Meet You Anywhere, and we played Billy Bob's that night, and we pulled in the barbecue joint. They brought banana pudding, and so we got to give that away for free and meet people. And I love teaming up, and I call it the sweet and greet. So if we're in your town,
nice.
and you want to tell me a great local bakery I can get in touch with, that would be awesome.
Well, we'll have to just keep in touch, and I can get you hooked up with some of that kind of stuff for sure. Lots of really neat things around the area. But, Risa, you're just a bubble. You're just bubbles, 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 more bubbles. You're like one of the bubbliest girls I think I've ever spoken to. A lot of fun.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I have BFFs all over the country, but let me tell you something. You're a bubbly little thing. But your music is great. I love the fact that you're picking things with messages and doing some fun things. Singer, songwriter, Emmy-nominated country gal. After my own heart here, touring with Ronnie Millsap, doing music, doing videos, selling T-shirts. Good Lord, girl, you need to breathe.
This is me breathing now. This is what I wanted for, it takes a really long time, but when you get there, it's like, now I got to just keep going,
Nice, yeah.
So it's good.
Well, you keep that energy, because I think you're going to go far. I wish you all the best, continued success with your music industry, and if you ever have something new, exciting going on, you want to come back on the show, whether you're local or not, it doesn't matter. Just have Anna or Dawn or any of those lovely ladies get back in touch, and hey, we'd like to get this out there about Miss Risa Binder, and I would be more than happy to have you back on the show, my girl.
Thank you. I would love to come back. Thank you so much. It was awesome.
You're quite welcome. And, again, you're in the area. Feel free to swing. Bring Ronnie with you. That would be pretty cool.
Oh my God. That would be awesome. Let me look at his schedule. That would be really cool.
But I can't say enough about you. You're so bubbly. Check this girl out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. RisaBinder.com is her website where you can find the T-shirts. Find her schedule. Stay in touch with her on all the social medias. Get Pretty at Spotify and all the electronic devices that are out there. Get her Nashville EP and be looking for some new music from this girl. And God, she's on fire and she's a cutie patootie. So recommendations from me here at Penn Speak Radio. I wish you all the best, my girl.
Oh, my gosh, you're so awesome. Thank you.
All right, well, take care, sweetheart, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.